When I think back on all the crap I learned in high school.
What a way to introduce the song or the show with all the crap. Yeah, you like the song?
I love that song.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed on Lone Star Internet Radio. That means it's Wednesday and it's 3 p.m. And we're here at the Montgomery County's Photography and Video radio show talking about everything photography. Our topic this month is the other side of photography, dealing with photographers and videographers. So our guests are kind of focused on the other end because, photographers are eccentric people and they're hard to deal with. They're introverts while trying to be extroverts.
Weird.
I mean, we deal with Tom every Wednesday and we can just see, I don't know how people do
just 1 hour is all it can take.
How do you not hear yourself? Do you hear?
I hear me now.
I hear me
now.
Okay, well, welcome everybody.
Okay.
We're sitting here with Tom, of course, at trmorephotos.com. Me, Dick, of our Lone Star, and then the boy band crush over here, Ansel Arnold of Ansel Arnold Photography.
Yep.
And then we have a special guest in the studio. We have Dr. Shanna Buchanan of Lake Conroe Veterinarian, and she uses photography to promote her business and also to make, I guess, display her business in a professional manner because she deals with dogs. And I'm really interested in today's show because I want to know what's going on when she's searching for photography and videography and all that good stuff. So I hope you're ready, Dr. B. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
And you want to say hi to everybody?
Howdy.
And the website right now, if you're on the computer and you're like, oh, what the hell are these guys talking about? What websites? What's the .com?
It's lakeconroevet.com.
lakeconroevet.com to see what she is talking about, especially what we're talking about. But we have a great show. I liked last week's show.
I had a blast.
With Tony.
I always have a good time.
With Tony.
Tony's fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I feel like you get talking to Tom. I feel like you at one point get to in like a dictator mode. And you just start yelling.
Iron fist method.
So hopefully let's control yourself today.
I'm not going to say I'm going to control myself.
I'm afraid to ask you how's photography going. Like how
awesome.
There we go. Okay, did you shoot anything good recently?
Yeah, I just got over a 3.5 hour interview with Lordex Spine Institute with Dr. Dana. Cool dude.
Was it a date or something? What are you talking about?
No, we just talked for 3.5 hours about his website. He's had some issues, and we want to talk to Dr. Buchanan today because she didn't go through all the insanity that most people go through. She made good decisions from the outset. She says a lot of it was luck. I think she's just smart, and she just has a good intuition about people and which way to go with her business.
That's later in the show.
It's just a
That's later in the show. We have a whole hour together. We'll get to that later. I asked you. How,
hold me back.
Do you shoot anything good recently? I mean, what's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah.
All right.
I'm being creative, man.
All right, good.
I'm
Ansel,
having fun.
moving into you. Shoot anything good? I mean, you posted some new stuff. Old stuff,
I posted one thing, just kind of messing around with some film I have. Apparently it has some infrared abilities, really slight infrared, but it's not infrared film. So I was messing around with that.
That's a good picture, man.
Thank you. Set up my Flickr page a little bit to put more into that because there's a lot more people on Flickr that are serious about photography. So it'd be nice to get noticed more on there a little bit and get more feedback there. So I was doing that.
You know what's funny is someone was talking to me about Instagram, and how our conversation about Instagram is the everyday photographer. Everyday people can become photographers using Instagram.
Yeah.
Dr. B, you know what Instagram is?
Yes.
Okay, do you use Instagram?
No.
See, I don't use it. I don't understand it. But somebody was explaining it to me because, like, why can't I just post it to Facebook? What's the difference? And what's interesting is their use of hashtags. Because since it's all photo driven, if you hashtag a certain thing, like if you hashtag Ansel Arnold, you get to see everything by Ansel Arnold.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a little bit more of a better index than what Facebook uses, because Facebook has so much data, not just photos. So I was like, oh man, so I can post to Instagram, but do I have to use those stupid filters?
Yeah, I think they're actually, aren't they using hashtags on Facebook now?
They are. They're trying to. It's not
as good.
It's crazy because I was just messing around because you can do like Lightroom and you can do like hashtag Photoshop, and you get some really funny Photoshops if you do that one, because people are really funny and creative when it comes to Photoshop. But no, I thought that was a really powerful tool, especially when you're trying to promote yourself. because like you're trying to do. And I was thinking Instagram. I guess Instagram's a good platform. I don't know if what is Flickr. Does Flickr do anything with social media besides just plugins?
I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty much a social media for photographers, and they have discussions on there. They have, kind of forum type boards, which are really nice. There's a lot of information on there. If you ever need to, if you ever have questions about anything, they have a Hasselblad group, they have film groups, they have digital groups, they have all kinds of groups for that. And then especially what I like to use it for a lot is when I'm looking at buying another type of film, I'll just go in there, type out what kind of film I'm looking at, or I want to see how it looks. I can even type in what kind of developer they're using. I can type in what kind of camera they're using, and it'll pop up. People will tag. And so that's really interesting and really useful to see, what kind of, for me, to see what kind of qualities certain film has with certain developers and whatnot. Flickr, I really like it.
That's cool, man, because, education is the first step. And I think Dr. B, what you were saying, is very well educated before she took the essential steps, right? Is that what I'm gathering, Tom?
She's very well educated, but I think she had a lot of luck. She got some direction from her husband, but she got the right person to start with and just wrote it out and got good results, and she's happy. So that's kind of rare, and I'm excited for her because it can turn into a real nightmare. And I do want to ask her just some particulars about her website and how it went.
He always tries to jump. Like
It's called a teaser, dude.
Why do we even
Don't you know
call
what a
this
teaser
Aperture and
is?
Shutter Speed? We should just call it trmorephotos.com.
I've been trying to get you to do that. That's
Ansel.
my whole effort
I mean, it's
here.
awful. But I wanted to give two things before we go, just about photography and things I encountered the past couple weeks.
Sure.
Is number one, similar to what Ansel was talking about, we're finding a database and building a database and having Flickr as a resource. I know when you're dealing with photos, especially in Lightroom and Aperture, you can keyword stuff. And it came to be very useful for me because when I import my photos, a keyword, very much like who's in it. It's kind of like tagging in Facebook. You tag certain elements, like where we took it, who's in it. Because one of my friends' birthdays is coming up, and someone asked, "Hey, do you have photos of them?" And so I just typed in my friend's name, and it came up. I had at least 20 pictures right there instantly, and they were all useful. And I go, "Yeah, here you go." And that 1 second I took to type in the names and everything.
That's a huge time saver.
So I want to let people know if you take a lot of photos of family and stuff like me, it's good to put that metadata and have a program to search. And then the next thing I wanted to let people know is when you're repairing your camera, where you should go, and if you're having camera issues, because don't be afraid to ask anyone you know about photography. To give you an idea, I had Margie Taylor who had a problem with her focus. And it was interesting because she's like, I think it was a Nikon, it was one of the entry-level Nikon DSLRs. And she says she couldn't focus on anything, and for some reason it wasn't working. And she even admitted she has no idea how to use a camera. She didn't even know about the autofocus, like what it did. She just thought it was out of focus. Everything was out of focus.
Was it her diopter?
So what I did, I asked her to bring it in, and I'm looking at it, and basically there was two things. Instantly, you always look at the lens, because the lens usually has a function, manual and autofocus for focusing. Well, it was turned off. So, when people put things in their bags and things like that, they don't really realize they knocked the switch. So I immediately hit that, and it still wasn't responding. Most DSLRs these days have a sensor in the button. If you do a half press, it autofocuses. Well, it wasn't autofocusing. And I went into the settings, and basically the computer in the camera was messed up. Somewhere through the line, they either turned it off, pulled out the battery, or whatever causes a short. So I had to reset all the settings, and then it came back on.
Go back to default.
It went back. Yeah, you just go back to default, and it worked. But one thing that led to that is I went online just to see if anyone else was having problems, because you don't like to go back to default and change people's settings because you change their settings. I don't want to do that. And it was interesting. People were paying obscene amounts of money to get this issue fixed. And like $200+, and I was like, man, people pay that. The camera costs $600.
There you go.
Like, why?
Business venture.
Yeah, so I just want to let people know there are some points when you do need to pay for repairs, and then some points you can just ask somebody to take a look, and it's because you have to admit that you don't know, and if you don't know, then move on to somebody who does. And it's similar to what we're doing in today's topic, but we're gonna take a quick break. But when we come back, we're gonna talk to Dr. B. I think she's gonna let us know what's up on the other side of photography and film. She looks ready.
The reality side.
She looks ready.
Where rubber meets the road.
And don't worry, I have Tom on a leash.
Okay.
And he won't be attacking.
He'll just turn me off.
Yeah.
See, that's why I get real aggressive. I have to talk really fast.
Yeah, he's like, I got this up for. But you're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. Coming up next is Dr. Now I want to say Dana.
Shanna
now I want to say Dana.
Buchanan.
But Shanna Buchanan.
Shana.
Shanna Banana. Got it. Shanna Banana. I get it. It's lakeconroevet.com.
Yes.
Lakeconroevet.com. Check it out. We'll be back after these messages.
If you took all the girls I knew when I was single.
Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas.
Tired of Waylon, Willie, and the boys? Join me, Gordon Lockhart, for Beethoven, Bach, and the Boys. Every Saturday from 8 to midnight on Lone Star Classical Music After Dark. Symphonies, concertos, and sonatas by composers such as Mozart, Tchaikovsky, and Bernstein. That's Lone Star Classical Music After Dark. Every Saturday from 8 to midnight on irlonestar.com.
Do you ever wonder what's going on in the business community? Are you looking for ways to get plugged in? Cassandra Roshan here, Director of Membership Development with the Greater Conroe, Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to invite you to tune in to Chamber Chat. Tune in the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. so you will be in the know for all Chamber happenings for the month. Each month, the Chamber offers 2 free lunch and learn sessions, a networking breakfast, business after hours, membership luncheon, as well as many other special events throughout the year. I will give you a rundown of all programs and events for the month, as well as interview our speakers and hosts of these events. So grab a cup of coffee and tune in to Chamber Chat the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Chat with you then.
Give us those nice bright colors. Give us the greens of summers. Makes you think all.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Tom Moore with TR Moore Photos. I'm here with Dick Schissler and with Ansel A. and with Dr. Shanna Buchanan, who owns LakeConroeVet.com. Yes. So we're gonna talk to Doc here, and we're gonna talk to her about her success. It's always very fun to talk to successful people. She went to school for 12, 13 years. She's been in school the majority of her life, say 80% of her life. She loves animals, obviously. So what was your motivation?
Well, let's get
Was
to
it-
know her first.
Okay.
Tom, come on, man. I'm just kidding. Can we get to the audience wants to get to know her? They're telling me.
Okay, so
And here we go. He just ignores it. Like, let's go to the next question.
tell us a little bit about your education and just what motivated you to. You obviously love to get an education or
Really, right? I know.
something.
So I've always wanted to be a veterinarian since I was in 3rd grade. Never had a plan.
Third grade.
Third grade.
What was is there a moment?
There was.
Oh, man.
I know. So I was 17 when my dog was 16. We had to put him down, so he was like my brother growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in 3rd grade, he never really liked me until then for whatever reason. He was a long hair standard dachshund that we didn't realize that if you neuter him, hey, personality can change for the better. Nobody ever really educated us on that. So I remember it was.
That's what happened to Tom. Just so you know.
So it was snowing.
I'm a eunuch.
Sorry to throw you off. I had to throw it
Now
out.
look at you now. Now, see, I didn't jump down your throat. So let her
Continue.
Let her
Sorry, we were
That's
rude.
okay. No,
Rude
no.
hosts.
So it was snowing that day, and my carpool to pick us up was late, so we're like one of the last children to leave. And I remember getting home, and my mom was all fussing, oh my gosh, hurry up, go take a bath and get in front of the fireplace, and let's get all warm. And my dad came home from work, and whenever he did, he started playing with my dog. My dog laid in my lap, would never play with him as long as he was in my lap. I would try to play with him, he'd just turn over, okay, just pet my chest. And so from then on, I mean, wherever I went, he went. He didn't wake up until I got up. He would wait for me whenever I got home from school. All of a sudden, I was his best friend. And so from then on, I was like, hey, I can be a vet. And then I excelled in science and math, so that always helps as well. And I liked school, so that always helps as well, too. And Yeah, until I was a sophomore in college, my advisor was like, "What's your plan B?" I was like, "I don't have a plan B. I'm going to be a vet." He said, "See all these people in the room? They probably want to be a vet too. What's your plan B?" Like, I don't want to have a plan B. So
It's this or nothing. So
Yeah.
your loss of your dog was our gain for a long time.
yeah, I
In
was
a
the only
roundabout
one.
way.
Yeah, no, I was the
No,
only
in a
one
huge
in the
way.
room that could stay with them. And so growing up, I remember telling when my dog would get sick, my mom would have to call the school, little pink slips saying Fritz is okay, or this is what we found out. Because I always wanted to know. And even our family veterinarian knew that I always wanted to be with them if we had to put them down. And when my mom I came home and I could see the kitchen was a disarray, like she was trying to get him in the car because with all these different foods and stuff that was out. And I called the vet clinic. I was like, "Is my mom there?" She's like, "No, they're coming home." So she walked in the door and she was crying. She said, "We have to go." And so and she didn't tell me this until later. She said that she wanted to say that my dog had died at home and, not for me to be there. And the vet said, "You will not do that to that child. You will go get her. You will bring her here. We're not going to put her down without you." And so I was there, and then my mom and dad, everybody had to leave, and I was the only one that could stay in the room.
I can hear emotion in your voice even now.
Oh, yeah.
It still is a deal. So pets are very powerful. And that pet in your life, like you said, was like
My brother.
So it's huge. So that motivated you to all of this work. And did you see your dog in your mind when you were taking that science test or you were doing whatever? No, really didn't go that far.
For applications.
You didn't have like a photograph on
Locket.
a locket.
With the hair.
The DNA.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
No.
Okay.
No, but for college applications and for vet school applications, I always made sure I mentioned that.
Yeah. Cool. That's
I think it's
interesting.
even on our website whenever I
And now you have 3 vets.
Veterinary
location.
clinics.
I have 3 veterinary clinics.
Okay.
I have 3 other veterinarians that work with me.
And you just travel to each one?
I'm
depending on-
mainly at the Bentwater Clinic. I do rotate between Western Hills and Lake Way. I have 2 veterinarians that are pretty stable that are there, that they're building up their clientele so they know who to expect when you walk into the door, because I think consistency is very important to clients as well. And then recently we hired another veterinarian that she's more of a floater than I am.
Is that Dr. Schwab?
No, Dr. Schwab's at Lake Way.
Okay, so you've got how
doc-
many doctors now? 5?
Dr. Cause, Dr. Schwab, Dr. Stevenson, and myself.
Okay.
And so we did an appreciation party for Dr. Floatman yesterday.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, we didn't get invited. There's a barbecue and everything. It sounded really fun.
Yeah,
and
we're
all,
low
so-
lives, man.
Yeah.
You know, when you're at the bottom
Well, I
of
think
the food
it's
chain,
company you keep.
You're lucky.
And
Lucky
it's
you get.
Tom.
It's lucky you get.
You're holding me back,
crumbs.
Tom. Holding me back, Tom. Okay, so that's the Dr. B. That's where you got. Now you're here. You have 3. You have a wonderful looking website, and that's really why we wanted to get you in the studio, because you hired Tom to do exactly what I want the audience to know. Why would you hire this guy?
So we looked at a couple of veterinarians, a couple of photographers, and looked at their work and had them come in. And on a few of them, they just showed what they can do. And I'm like, I need people. I don't need background. I need somebody that can focus on people, because your building's great, but who cares about the building? They want to know who's going to hold your cat or your dog when you come in the door. And so we went and we did the photography, and I was like, well, it didn't work. We can just go to somebody else, but we never had to do that. So it turned out to be really great. Our the website master, or however you want to call them, I don't know what they.
The word master is an acceptable word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever because they would usually just use the photography for the staff and then the building, and that's it. But he did such a good job that they put it on the banner on the landing page, and then I've heard so many different things, splash pages or the accessory pages or whatever. And then they said that is their promotion whenever they go around to promote their website. They said,
Good news.
"Here's the
So all
demo."
these photos of the dogs and things like that, that's you, Tom? If I'm looking at this correctly, like pretty much every photo on here is Tom, or
Not
No,
all of them.
Not all of them.
but the dogs in the grass.
But the good ones.
But what do you claim in here,
We
Tom?
have well, I don't know what you're looking at. There's the collies that are on there. We have one with the hand, and it's a Great Dane tongue. You can't see Great Dane, but she has the sparkly fingernails. It's his. Then I'm on there with some dogs. It's on the. I don't know what other ones you're looking at.
Well, I'm just looking at it because
Yeah.
to me some of these photos are really high quality, and they're of cute dogs. And then of course there's the portraits of you guys. And so I was just trying to understand, but
It's kind of mixed. Yeah.
And because actually one of the things that we were talking about with Ansel and Tom is when you're looking for a photographer, and you're looking at their photos. Can you kind of tell what kind of photographer they are through their portfolio, or were you just kind of like, just come take some pictures, man? We need it.
We looked, but I'm not a photographer, so I needed to know what it looked like for us. So I needed more samples of our staff of what we need, because you could be an excellent photographer on one area, but it's just not going to work out for you.
Right.
So.
Okay, because I always split these two up, because one's a fine art photographer, one's, I guess, what would you classify yourself as, Tom? Even though fine art's a nice name, but do you really fall under that?
I just want to develop photography that works for the individual.
So for a client, you're a client photographer.
Yeah, I want to come in and I want to interview a potential client. I want to find out what exactly they need, and I want to put all of my efforts towards satisfying their needs. So whatever you call that, commercial
art, and fine art. I mean, they're just different.
No, I know. I was because when she's looking for a photographer, it's always nice to see, to know what kind of photographer you're getting into, and if his specialty is portrait photography, and that's what you're looking for because you want a portrait. Because I mean, some guys like I forget. I'll pull up his name later, but he does the movie stars. Charges like $750 for one shot, for one headshot.
Oh yeah.
And he's in Dallas, and like he's like literally just fly in, and he has this one room. And has like 7 sleeves behind him. What color skin, depending on the color of the skin of the client, and then he takes your picture, $750 right there.
That's nuts.
And for a headshot. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like when you're Dr. B's point of view, she needed some photos, and she would prefer the certain type of photo. She'd prefer that.
Yeah, Tom came with ideas that I would never have thought of, because that's just not how my brain works. He was like, well, we can do it on this, and we can do it here, and I was like, that's great. So he really took the ball and ran with it, and it turned out well. Because
that's one thing a lot of people don't realize when it comes to making a website. There's a lot of elements that combine to make it a flawless website, and especially with this website looks clean.
Yeah,
and I think the photos support it. And outside of the website, do you use photography or film to promote your business in any other way? Do you have like pamphlets, or do you use?
We're trying to different ways of promoting. We did radio, and then now we're looking at billboard, and then we want to do pamphlets, but it's just kind of a slow process.
Yeah,
because there's so many other things.
There's
that
animals
are
to
going
be
on.
taken care of.
Yeah.
But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive a little bit more into that, because one thing I always like to know is when you have your first job with a photographer, are there possibilities for later jobs, and then utilizing each job and outside just that one project y'all worked on. Because with those photos, you can use them in a lot of areas. So we'll be right back on Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're hanging out here with trmorephotos.com, Ansel Arnold Photography, and Dr. Buchanan. Dr. Buchanan.
Yes.
Oh, great. I'm awful at this.
Dr. B.
Of LakeConroeVet.com. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Bonita DeRosa, Animal Control Officer for the City of Willis. We invite you to tune in to Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. for the Willis Hour. On the first Thursday of the month, the Willis Hour will be covering upcoming events and news about the city. Join in the conversation with your city officials and other leaders in the community. On the third, we will be doing a recap of the last city council meeting. The mission of the City of Willis is to provide high-quality services, accountability, and professional commitment to our citizens. We pledge to provide those who live, work, and visit our city an effective government that is open and responsive to the needs and values of the community. Again, we invite you to tune in on Lone Star Internet Radio every first and third Thursday of the month at 11 for the Willis Hour.
Have you ever wandered around a parking lot trying to look like you actually know where you parked? Then you'll love the Mark and Cindy Show. If buying toilet paper with aloe vera is the most exciting thing you're going to do today, then you'll love the Mark and Cindy Show. Even if you haven't tweeted, you'll still love the Mark and Cindy Show.
How about twerking?
Ew. That was one step over the line, Mark.
Well, you said toilet paper.
Look, we want listeners to tune in to the Mark and Cindy Show at 10 o'clock every weekday morning here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
The Mark and Cindy Show, it's like visiting with your best friends for coffee, except we will never stiff you with a check.
And one of us always knows what she's talking about.
Well, okay, but it's still called the Mark and Cindy Show. You know that.
We'll see. The Mark and Cindy Show. Tune in to Lone Star Radio every weekday morning at 10 o'clock.
I know they never match my sweet imagination.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're here with Dick Schissler, Tom TR Moore Photos, Dr. B, and me, Ansel Arnold Photography.
Is that it? Is that what you got me?
That's what I got.
Thanks for carrying me across that line. But yeah, you're back with Aperture and Shutter Speed. And like I said, Dr. B, that's LakeConroeVet.com. And we're kind of getting
degree and plaster their wall with their education. And then they don't take out the time that's necessary to produce a beautiful website. They shoot photos of dogs through their phone and they post them. They're all pixelated. And like I just was telling Dr. Buchanan, you could be the best veterinarian on the block or in the state and have a terrible website and just have a terrible reference. Or you could be the worst vet and have the best website and be popular and have a lot of complaints. But so why is it, in your opinion, why did you take the initiative to get a professional photographer to just do it right the first time? And I'll just say one more thing, is that so many people who build websites who are not educated in doing so get taken for a ride multiple times. And in your case, you just luck was on your side, or you just have a good sense of character. I don't know. What did you do?
So I think part of the reason why some veterinarians don't have a presence on the web is part of it is generation gap. Because in college and undergrad, I remember taking a Windows class. Everybody else, like my nephews, they grew up with computers. And so I think I'm kind of in the sandwich generation, where we have the people that like the phone book, and then we have the people that are online, because our main target is mixed, because we don't have just like the middle-aged people or the young or the old. I mean, people, every generation has an animal. And so I think that my personal opinion is that the veterinarians that don't have a prominent website or presence on the web is just priorities. They don't think that it's important, or they're focusing on something else that they do think that's important. Neither one of them is right or wrong. It just depends on who you're trying to target, what you think is going to drive business, what you feel comfortable with. And I think a lot of it too is that they don't understand it. And so it's really hard to say, let's do this. Like you said, you can get really not good service and have problems. Now for me, I mean, yes, I'm a new owner. I have two partners. My husband is the owner of a veterinary clinic, and then I have another partner that we all did a phone interview multiple times with our with DVM Elite that does our website. And there's questions that I would never think to ask because I have never been down that road before. So my husband's had a couple of websites. My other partner, Justin, has had a couple of websites, so they kind of knew the ins and outs. So I kind of surrounded myself with people with knowledge. So I think that's what's helped me.
Successful people do that. If that's not their expertise, they bring in someone who has that expertise because their expertise is in veterinary. So the issue is, and has been and continues to be, is that people represent themselves as an expert in a certain field, such as in building a website. But as you go down the line and that site is built and issues come up, that person wants to hit the money button and say, well, you've got a problem, so give me more money, when you'd already agreed on a certain sum, and you're just not getting the results. And I understand that you can talk about the sandwich and you're being in the middle, but anyone can go to a website and anyone can see a quality website, and anyone can see that that's a beautiful photo, or they can tell that, the dog isn't even looking at the camera. I mean, come on, you're shooting the top of their head. Where is the dog? Or what is that? I mean, it's so bad. It goes beyond. How could you even attempt to do this? The website is such a crucial, it is your shingle, if you will. Mm-hmm. You hang it outside your door and everybody's going to go to it. It's just the way we're programmed now. So it is a major integral part of your business. And you did it right the first time. Congratulations. That's huge on your part, because the frustration is huge out there with people who are just getting done and, overcooked, overcharged, and they're literally being held hostage. They cannot even get in and blog on their site, change a photograph, anything, because they are being held hostage, and they've spent thousands of dollars, and it's a real blight on the industry.
TRMorePhotos.com, folks.
I got it off my chest.
You should have a blog, Tom.
You know why I don't have a blog? Is because I can't get into my website.
No, he needs to get a soapbox.
I cannot get into my website. I'm ranting. I cannot get into my website because WordPress won't let me in.
There we go. He is turned off, folks.
Or like the YouTube video rants or something.
Yeah, I want to meet his wife is what I want to do. I want to meet Tom's wife. Gotta meet her. Gotta see how he deals with this stuff. But let's get to the more important.
She doesn't talk to me. We email each other.
And you probably don't know how that doesn't work half the time either.
Yeah, because I don't know how to email.
Well, don't admit that. But no, okay. So we were talking with Dr. B in the last segment about hiring a photographer, and one thing I want to start with is your first contact with Tom. When you're going into a photographer, is this something that you really don't care about, but it needs to get done? Because I've dealt with people like that. They're like, just go take the photos. Just go do it. And when you reached out to Tom, did you get what you were expecting, or was the process easy? What can make it easier, and what can make it harder sometimes?
So I think Regina had contacted you. So I delegated things to my staff, and then but I talked to you, and we met, and he was trying to figure out what I needed. Like I said, photography is not my thing. I have no idea. Yeah. I wanted quality photos. I didn't know how to tell him to do it. I was just going to have to see. So I guess my approach was more like, let's hire you, let's do some, and if we don't like it, we'll just go on to the next person. Don't get bogged down and like you said, continue to dig your hole. Because even whenever we did our website, we were talking to somebody else to have a backup website in case this one didn't work, that we can just jump ship and have something up there while we're making it better. So I think go back to whole plan B, right?
Yeah.
That's
not your deal.
No, it's not. But you do have to plan for that and just know that I was getting into something I had no idea what it was going to be, but you had to try.
Yeah. And then
evaluate.
Well, what about the end result? Were you happy?
That was great. It was more than I expected.
And so you have your end result, you have your product, you have your photos, and did you, after putting them on the website, did you see it being a benefit of having quality images?
I did. I mean, usually when people come in, they don't really say, hey, I liked your website.
I like your website, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, here's Fluffy. What's wrong with them? So I liked it, and I'm proud of what we have out there. And so, and I don't have to worry about, how are people going to judge me, or they're going to judge the clinic, because I know it's up, it's good. I have good people that are working on it, and that's just one less thing, not necessarily have to not worry about, but one less thing I have to monitor so closely.
Well, what's one funny thing about photography is a lot of people don't necessarily compliment, but they'd be first person to say these are bad. Right. So if you had bad photos on the website, that's going to reflect poorly. But even if you have great photos, I think what happens, especially in your business, is it just goes over their head because they're more focused. They're more focused on finding somebody who can take care of their animal So if that's not a weird thing, a compliment to Tom, like your photos aren't bad. And that's it.
Thank you.
Right? Because most people don't complain. Do you know
That's
what
better than saying they don't suck, right?
Yeah.
That's better. That's better. So I take that as a compliment.
Well, actually, after our website came up, I had one of my clients that her son does websites. It's like, I need you to go in there and just evaluate it. Honor your opinion. Value it. What do we need to do? And she's like, everything's great except you need to add, here we are on the first page. He said all the pictures are good. All the content's good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, there you go.
So you got your website done, and then your next step when it comes to, because a lot of people use photography for promotion, where do you see photography and videography next in your business?
That's hard. So you always try to get the word out. You always try to promote yourself. We have talked about doing pamphlets and put it in, because I do the alternative medicine, that put that in like acupuncture, human acupuncturists, chiropractors, offices. There was one place that I worked that I was helping out. It was a tragic situation that they suddenly lost their veterinarian, but they had pamphlets for every service that they had. They had for grooming, for boarding, and they had it for the doctor that was there that no longer was there. But it was this spinning. It was beautifully displayed, and it's something like that, but I don't know how to get that out to the public as opposed to just being right there when you walk in the door. So we have looked at doing billboards, ads in the newspaper, different things like that, but you can't get it too crazy and too technical, because it has to be easy to read and see and go on to the next thing, because I think we're in a very fast-paced society.
Now, with the photos you have now, do you plan on using those for those type of materials, or do you plan on...
For the printed materials, for pamphlets, yes. Things that you take home and you go with you. But for the more things that are disposable, no. Because it's so quality that I think people would just gloss over it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to see the message. They would look at your photo instead.
So would a trifold work for you more than a carousel type where it's...
Well, that's what the trifolds were in the carousel, that you can take them.
Oh, got it.
And then take them with you, and then they'll tell you what you have, what the services are, the history behind it, all that stuff. So...
Okay, well, see, because one thing I know with dealing with businesses, especially you're a long-term business, and you always reach those plateaus, and you're like, we need a change, we need something that's a little different, and especially with you deal with, I guess, employees.
Right.
So when this is a hypothetical question. Say you have 4 employees, and then they just quit. So I'm just saying.
Wow.
I know that's horrible. That probably will never happen. But my question is, you immediately hire 4 new employees. How important is it to go, hey, Tom, I need you to come over here and do some portraits because we got these new so-and-so in these new positions, and would you hire another photographer, or would you try to do it yourself?
No, actually, we've had turnover since we've done the website, and we have not a probation period, but we have a learning period to make sure that they're going to fit with everybody, and he's actually come out and taken the photos again.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, that's just, I always wondered that, the new employees.
Yeah, because I want it to be uniform. I want it to be the same quality. I don't want it to look like, oh, we just thought about you secondhand, but I just want everything to look nice and to make sure that everybody knows that these people are part of our team.
Yes.
Kind of going off that, I have a question about, so you have this website now and you have these photos up and everything looks really good. How long do you wait until you refresh that? Do you wait 4 years, 5 years, 10 years? I mean,
2 years is pretty average.
2 years? Okay.
That's what he wants everybody to think.
But she has a lot of photos. I didn't see them necessarily all on there, so she has a backup that she can flow in and out. So I mean, if she wanted, she could take, after 2 years, she could refurbish and then come back later and maybe use some of the same that were used 2 years after, because people come and go. I don't know. That's her call, obviously, how she'd want to format that.
Sure.
Well, I always saw it like the kind of going back how you judge a photo in her business, because if it's not a bad photo, then you get the point across. Because, like I said, most people notice
you just kind of go.
You go through it.
It looks normal. I mean, especially going from advertisements on TV to magazines to all these things. We're so used to seeing, this pretty good quality stuff. We're not used to seeing, something that some dude on Facebook,
Instagram
who picked up
didn't,
a camera, 2 weeks ago started doing. We're not really used to seeing that. So, yeah, it's a lot easier to pass up. But when we see this good stuff, it's just kind of, it's
expected.
Yeah, it's expected to be good.
Because if it was my advice to you, I wouldn't change until you feel like the website isn't utilizing. Well, no, if your website isn't utilizing your services anymore, if it's not representing what you want, because you're just a vet clinic. You're not a media. You're really not there to be a website to do your work.
Right.
You're literally just a billboard. And if it looks good and like you're not just good, it doesn't look bad. I think that's the goal when it comes to those types of websites. It's just make sure it doesn't look bad, and people will get over it, and they'll get the phone number and they get the number, they get the contact information.
Yeah,
it's
they
really
have
the most
other
important
things
thing
on there. But
Yes.
the first part is to be aesthetically pleasing, so then they'll delve into the other content.
And also, just for
he's upset.
future reference, is that if you do a billboard, if you go into magazine, you might want to reference the photos I have that you also have, because I have the raw file. So if you need a TIFF, if you need something for a magazine, your photos have been a little bit corrupted in that you might have enlarged them, you might have done some color correction. And so I would give you a clean, new batch.
Awesome.
Yes.
Hey, everyone's just silent now?
Yeah, well, you were cutting us off at the knees, so what?
Well, all right. Well, we're going to be taking a break.
And you
of
didn't
course.
even tell us you're going to do that, so.
Are you kidding me? No. All right. You almost got me. Almost got me.
I'm sucking him in.
He's learning. He's learning my
weaknesses. Run him off in the
Awful.
ditch.
Jeez. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed with Dr. B from LakeConroeVet.com, and then Ansel Arnold, Ansel Arnold Photography, and then of course trmorePhotos.com. We'll be back, and when we come back, we're going to say special thanks to Dr. B and see what's next for photography for next week and things like that. So stay tuned, and we'll be back on OurLoneStar.com.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I will be your host for a new program on Lone Star Internet Radio. I call it Retro Saturdays. Every Saturday at 5 p.m., I will be playing music from the 1930s to the 1970s. I will play a different genre of music every weekend of the month. You will hear big band music, jazz, 70s classic rock, and 60s oldies. Join us for Retro Saturdays at 5 p.m. every Saturday of the month. Go to irlonestar.com for more information on Retro Saturdays on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Hello, this is Dennis Nelson, inviting you to come with me through the doorway of imagination and into the theater of the mind. The Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour presents a play every Saturday night at 7 p.m. on Lone Star Internet Radio. Be it drama or comedy, thriller or love story, every exciting episode is carefully chosen straight from the golden age of radio and performed live by talented actors, musicians, and sound effects crew. Every sound you hear will be 100% live and homemade. Anything can happen. So join us, please, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. for the Players Theater Company Old Time Radio Hour, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Everything looks worse in black and white.
Don't listen to him, Ansel. Nothing looks worse than black and white, okay? All right?
That's your opinion.
Yeah, you're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio with Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. talking about photography and film, especially with a little focus on Montgomery County. You can catch us on YouTube and our SoundCloud for our archives, and then you can also catch us on Facebook. Look up Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're sitting here with Dr. B from LakeConroeVet.com. It's not just a website. She also has 3 clinics around the Montgomery County area, which is great because her website's beautiful, and so we wouldn't let her in here.
If it wasn't.
If it wasn't.
Right.
I mean, let's be
if
real.
she wasn't as photogenic as she is,
Yeah.
we would say no
Yeah,
way.
come on our radio show. No, no. Okay, so this is our last segment, so we have to wrap it up. We got to get through it. So I had a question, and this is going to be really strange, but in your business, do you use photography? Any type of picture taking?
We
for
do.
Documentation?
Well, so what we have as our software, we'll take a photo of the pets. We'll try to update the photo because it's really embarrassing to send out a postcard with a puppy whenever they're 10 years old. But you'll take the photo of the pets, so whenever we print out their check-in sheet, or whenever we do reminders, we want a cute picture because it's always nice to have a photo whenever they come in the door. I mean, whenever they open your mail.
So you use like a point and shoot, basically, just a quick,
because it has to be able to upload
real fast.
Mhm.
Okay, well, they make DSLRs that you can upload almost as fast. The quality, what's a DSLR? Yeah, you can ask me that. A DSLR is a camera like this.
Oh, well.
So it takes a little higher quality photo, and then they're getting so user friendly that you can get it taken, and it's just a higher quality. The only thing to worry about is printing, because when you print higher quality, it takes a long time, and also more ink, of course. So with that seems normal to me as a business like that. You send an updated picture, and I imagine you have it on file,
right?
So you keep
and so because we started to recently really been not aggressive but more cognizant of getting updated pictures.
Yeah.
So say if we have a pet that we've seen from beginning to end, then you can put like a collage on a postcard and say, we're so sorry. This is hopefully a nice memory of.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Now, outside of the PR realm, because that to me is like PR. It's kind of that's just part of your marketing, part of your business. Is
you also want to know what dog you're going to see in the room.
Yes, there you go. So it's like, this is the wrong dog.
Yeah.
Now,
wait, why is there a cat?
But one thing I'm always interested in is like I guess you call it like the crime scene photography. Because when you take, like, say a animal comes in and injures itself, do you take photos of that just as keep it on keep it on file?
We don't really have a whole lot of that.
But there is something of it.
Mainly what we'll take before and after pictures of dentals.
Okay.
Because some dogs' mouth, they come in, you're like, wow, that's really horrible. And then they go home, look like a little Orbitz commercial. Ding.
Yeah.
And so we can show that to the client. This is before and after because they're under anesthesia and you can get a good picture of it as opposed to trying to hold up the lip of a moving dog or a cat. So we'll use it mainly for that. Sometimes. Is
that a point and shoot too? You just use
it's
the same camera?
It's the same camera.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always interested because, I mean, there's certain cameras I know some people like dentists use to take the pictures.
Well, that's X-rays. We have X-rays too.
Well, that's considered a picture, guys,
I guess
right?
so. Yeah, but it's more for diagnostics, not for.
I'm just I'm trying to talk about photography. It's awful. But so you're a photographer. You can tell people you're an X-ray photographer.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, right?
I know. I always tell the patients to smile for their picture whenever we take films.
Another degree on your wall.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Claim to fame.
We talked about this earlier, but something that struck me a lot about Dr. Buchanan when I first started working with her is that she's very down to earth, highly educated, could paper her walls with her degrees. But if you walked into one of her clinics and she was there, if her front desk gal had to go to lunch or something and she was filling in, you would think she's a front desk gal or she's just an assistant because she's so approachable, so easy to talk to, and just does not put on airs. And that is rare for someone who has her background, her education. I think that's a huge compliment to that industry.
Thank you.
So there
you go, Tom.
I had to say that.
Butter it up.
And also, she's extremely photogenic and very attractive. So that really helps a website.
Well,
when you take care of yourself and you have good teeth and pretty hair, it just makes a big difference.
Tom,
and I love that.
All Tom cares about is the appearance.
That's it.
I care about what's inside.
With her, she's got brains and looks. So we're there. It's all happening. And it's rare.
I mean, I've only known her for 45 minutes and I hate her. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Okay.
She's like, wow, all right. He's
Okay.
No, I'm
We're gonna
kidding,
put
of
you on the
course.
rack for that.
I'm just kidding.
On the rack.
I'm just kidding. But I want you to take an opportunity right now, Dr. B, to let our audience know, because I know LakeConroeVet.com is the main website that has the location of all 3 of your veterinary clinics. And if there's anything right now, kind of like a PSA, like to let people know about their animals and things like that. And also let them know what they could use to calm them down to take photos. I guess that'd be cool to know, because I know animals are kind of hyper.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
And can I just drug them?
I would just say more of habituation of
Okay.
here's the camera, because you don't want to drag your dog or cat. Wouldn't really take a good photo.
No.
Right.
Unless it's like
Falling
natural.
down.
Oh,
Unless
no. Yeah, so I think more of exposure of always having the camera, because they always do this. They always like turn their head for whatever reason. Now, if they're horses, they pose. It's really weird. But for the summer, I mean, everybody's out and about. We travel, go everywhere. You have more animals out in the dog parks. We have more puppies and kittens. So you have diseases, parasites, internal as well as external, heartworm disease for the mosquitoes, which are here all year round. So just make sure you get your pet checked out, make sure that everything is going well. And just remember our patients, our pets, age more rapidly than we do. It's not the 7 years per 1 year, like we always heard in the past. They have a
the
lot
dog
of
years. Yeah.
They have a lot of different charts, but geriatrics starting around 7 years old. And
Okay.
for a large breed dog, it's a lot younger. So, blood work, similar things. If you go to the doctor each year to get a checkup to make sure you're healthy, because there's some internal stuff that you just don't know until you do an exam or you do diagnostics, make sure everybody's healthy and happy, and because we want our pets to live forever, right?
Can I ask her a quick question? Do we have time? I have a 12-year-old dog.
Oh, you asked me a question.
I'm
and
not
you
with
won't let
you.
me. Why even bother?
I have a 12-year-old dog who's getting atrophy in his back hips because he's
Whoa, are you trying to slip in
he's
a
105
medical question here?
pounds.
Wow.
And he's his one leg shakes because he's having a hard
Sweet.
time. His teeth are fine. He hears good. His eyes are great.
It's probably 'cause
his
you abuse
heart,
him.
everything. And but he's having a hard time just getting up.
Right.
So am I in a situation where if this dog can't get up, I'm gonna have to put him down?
Well, 105-pound dog, yeah. But there are things that you can do to help him get up. The reason why he's having atrophy in his back end and he's shifting his weight forward because his hips hurt. Something hurts in the back. His hips, his knees. You're 12 years old, you're going to have arthritis. Could it be something else? Yeah, because he's 12. So you always, in the back of your mind, say cancer. Not saying that that's what your dog has, but there are medications that are specifically made for arthritis. They're made for long-term use. As long as you monitor liver, kidney values, blood work, make sure everybody's safe, know the side effects. And they have oral prescription medicine as well as injectable ones for just joint and hip, like Adequan, or either you can do the oral glucosamine. Takes a long time to build up in the system. But there's other things you can do for them.
So there you have it, folks. There's your answer
I
for
think that's
your
the
old
reason he
dog.
invited you in. I really
love.
did. Is that the reason?
That's
you
right.
invited
I got my info. I'm ready to
All right,
roll
Tom.
now.
All right, Tom. Who's gonna? Well, I want to say a special thanks to Dr. B
Thank
of
you.
LakeConroeVet.com.
It was a blast.
It was very informational, and I was really hoping for more disgusting pictures. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Like, well, I mean,
he wanted to trounce your website. See,
and I was like, where's the open chest wounds and like?
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
we don't
We
do
don't-
that.
No,
Bring in
no,
a
no.
dog that's been hit by a car.
No.
No, we don't do that.
I took pictures of an amputation one time at the cat vet.
Now, why did you take? Oh, now
He
now
worked.
that's a whole nother conversation. Why did you say anything? I mean, come on. You know what? Don't want to
Not
talk about.
everybody
Holding out.
likes blood and guts. You have to
Right,
be careful.
I
Rick
guess.
does,
Yeah.
My
I
parents
Richard
never
loves
wanted
it.
to hear about.
especially when it's
Stuff.
your
Well, how do you
dog.
learn about that? Like in school?
Oh,
mean,
I don't. Well, say if we're eating dinner, they would have some medical show on. They'd always have to turn it off. I'm like, what's the problem? I'm eating a steak and watching amputation.
that doesn't
I don't really
bother me.
care. But no, or dinner conversations are like, okay, look, we're at the dinner table. Stop.
Don't
Oh,
don't
okay.
talk about guts.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And if you want to give out your contact info right now, just so if a listener out there wants to call you, besides LakeConroe.com.
So we have 3 phone numbers. We have Western Hills Animal Medical and Surgical Clinic that is on 105 near Walden. It's 936-582-4223. Then I have Bitwater Animal Clinic that is across from Bitwater on 1097 936 597 6039. And then Lakeway Animal Medical and Surgical Clinic on 1097 across from Kroger, next to Subway at 936 856 0200.
Only a doctor could remember all that. All
There you
those
go.
numbers.
That was impressive. Now, Tom, who's coming up on next week?
We have Jim Winkler, and he owns.
Is that the Fonz?
Yeah, but he had to
We have the
put that
Fonz
down.
coming
We
in?
had to put that down. Yeah, he got major plastic surgeries. It doesn't look like him at all.
Okay.
And he owns a marina called Waterpoint Marina, and I shot video for him.
Well, cool. That's going to be
Boats
exciting.
and
show.
yachts and just fun stuff.
That's going to be an exciting show.
That's his passion. He loves it. He does a great job.
Oh, you're not showing up, right?
I've got to be here.
Oh, dang it.
I know.
All right.
I know.
That's understandable. But
you can handle me 1 hour a week.
Try to.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. But yeah, thanks for tuning in for Aperture and Shutter Speed. We're going to be back next week, like I said, with not the Fonz, but it's a Fonz, right? Am I saying that correct?
Yeah, it's a Fonz.
The Fonz. Oh, so he is a Fonz. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed. Thanks again to Dr. B from LakeConroeVet.com for sharing your experiences, especially with Tom. It's always nice to hear stories that are positive because there's so few about TR
About
Morphos.
Tom.
That's right, about Tom.
But yeah, make sure to check us out on Facebook.
One less
Aperture and
disaster
Shutter
for me.
Speed. And we'll be back next week at 3 p.m. Ansel, you going to be here?
Yes.
Oh, sweet, man. All right, we'll be back and next week, 3 p.m. Aperture and Shutter Speed, and enjoy the rest of your day. Get some good shots. This is the summertime.
I know they never match my sweet imagination. And everything looks worse in black and white.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.